Trade Union Congress of Nigeria TUC has announced that it will mobilize workers for a one-day protest in Lagos State. The protest is scheduled for Monday, September 25. TUC President Festus Osifo says the Workers' Union plans to stage the protest ahead of its planned strike against the Lagos State government's ban on the Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria and the National Union of Road Transport Workers. Labour leaders had, during a protest to the Lagos State Government House in Ikeja in June, called on the government to lift the ban. They warned that there will be consequences if the ban is not lifted.
In order for us to carry out a successful protest in Lagos on Monday next week, we have informed the DG of DSS, we have informed the IGP, we have also informed the National Security Advisor. The reason is that we want them to provide us with adequate security. And we have also informed all our various affiliates that everybody should proceed to Lagos next week. The General Secretary and the President should proceed to Lagos, and we will do a lot of mobilization to carry out our protest and express our displeasure once more. If this clarion call is not yielded, then we would now have no further option than to ask our members working in Lagos to withdraw their services forthwith.
All right, Festus Osifo, whom you saw moments ago, the President of Trade Union Congress, is joining us from our Lagos studio. Thank you so much. Good to see you. Right, so why exactly are you insisting that the Lagos State government should lift the ban on RTAN and, of course, the National Union of Road Transport Workers, considering the fact that in the recent past they seem to have constituted some kind of a threat to internal security and, of course, the leadership tussle within the NURTW? Why are you insisting, and what will be the consequences if the ban is not lifted?
Yeah, thank you very much. Good evening and good evening, viewers. Thank you for having me. Yeah, basically, you know, sometime around September last year, 2022. So, Ritian in Lagos, they were disbanded. In fact, the Secretariat of Ritian was taken over by the Lagos State government, and as well as some vehicles that they own. Part of these vehicles were also the transportation vehicles owned by TUC. So they were all taken over by the Lagos State government. So all efforts to reach out to them did not yield the desired result. We even, at a particular time, Ritian proceeded to court because we felt that we should not because of some of the protracted issues that were raised. So we advised them, so they went to National Industrial Court. So when they got to National Industrial Court, sometime around May, precisely May 22nd, 2023, a verdict was given, a ruling was given, whereby the ruling was given in favor of Ritian, asking the Lagos State government to reinstate back Ritian. Because Ritian is a trade union that was established in 1978. So they now said that they should be reinstated. But when that happened, we wrote a letter to the Lagos State government trying to inform them that they should reinstate Ritian. But it did not yield any result. So what we now also did beyond that was that in second week of June, we had a protest in Lagos to register our displeasure. But after that, some meetings were held. Then there were commissioners in Lagos. There were permanent secretaries, the Ministry of Transport. You know, so they met with the representative of Ritian and the National Executive of Trade Union Congress of Nigeria, led by the Secretary General. So in that particular meeting, we thought there was progress, because after that meeting, they were okay. They are going to look at it. The governor was abroad. When he returns back, they will sit down. They will look at it, and all issues will be resolved. But all efforts to get this particular subject resolved has not yielded anything. It was against that backdrop that in the NEC meeting of Trade Union Congress that was held about 3 weeks ago, a decision was reached that if this is not resolved, then we have to embark on a further protest. But if that protest at the end of the day did not yield further result, we'll take it a stage further by declaring a further industrial action, such as strike in Lagos. Then if that does not yield the desired result, then it will also be taken a notch higher. Because for us, we have exhausted all angle of dialogue. We have had several dialogue, we have had several meetings and several exchanges. It has not yielded the desired result.
Festus, we've heard your position on this, but then you had a protest in June to the State House in Ikeja, and still didn't yield much result. What are the assurances you've got that this protest you're planning this time around will bring about much result anyway?
Yes, the assurances is not us, it's for the Lagos State government to give us assurances. Like as I said earlier, after the June protest, there were several meetings were held. In fact, they sent us a letter inviting us for the first meeting. So we went to that meeting, we attended the meeting. Then a second meeting was now also called after a while. So we also attended that meeting where a subtle understanding was reached that when the governor, who was abroad as at then, when he returns back, that they are going to brief him and that they are going to resolve the subject. But we have waited, this has not yielded the desired result, then that is why we are organizing this second round of protest. But by the time we finish this and there is no result, we are going to take it a notch higher and we will declare industrial action in Lagos. And this has the potential of snowballing into a national industrial action, because for us, injury to one is clearly an injury to all. Because for us, if we allow this to happen to Ritian, as is happening today in Lagos, then it could also happen to other of our affiliates. So that is why we are not folding our arms, and we are calling on well-meaning Nigerians to prevail on the government of Lagos to yield to the clarion call. What they are saying is that, yes, there is a judgment from National Industrial Court of Nigeria sitting here in Lagos that has given us the verdict, but that they have appealed. We now said, no, that was a declarative judgment. When you appeal, there is no stay of execution. It is when you have stay of execution, then we will now know that, okay,
right. Okay, well, we'll see how things pan out. You plan that protest, of course, for Monday, 25th September, I believe. But let's take you up on a few other issues. I mean, the TUC, which you lead, seems not to be on the same page with the Nigeria Labour Congress as far as the issue of the protest or strike over the palliatives, is concerned. What exactly is going on between the two bodies? And aren't you concerned this might affect any plans, to get a good deal for the Nigerian worker?
Yes, absolutely. There is nothing affecting the two body. Like as I have said in my last appearance on your program, on the news night. So what I said clearly was that at the end of, in trade unions, we have different tools. So from the tools in our toolbox, we decide the one to use at any point in time. So if one, for example, decides to go around using protest, another one could also use another means. For example, when we had a protest in Lagos in June, there was also issues on NUROTW. But in that protest, it was done by TUC. So the fact that NLC did not join us in that protest doesn't mean that they were docile. At that particular time, they were also using other means to reach out to government. They were also using other means to also make their voice heard. So I'm assuring Nigerians that and our members that there is really no clear-cut fracas between NLC and TUC. I mean, today there was some line of communication between the leadership of NLC and as well the leadership of TUC. Our aim overall is that it is how to protect the interests of Nigerians. So if, for example, TUC decides to use a particular method for now, and then NSC also decides a particular method for now, tomorrow the method can also converge. Tomorrow the method can also be switched. So there is really no cause for alarm. At the end of the day, the interest of Nigerians and the interest of our workers, our members, most especially, will be adequately protected, because the goal and the aim is actually the same.
Okay, Festus, now, well, that's quite straightforward. Yet you want to talk to us about the measures you put in place to ensure that indeed your protest on Monday doesn't get hijacked by hoodlums or some other elements.
Yes, you know, if you look at the press conference that we had today, we highlighted and we stated therein that we have written to the IGP, and we also have a copy of the acknowledgement from the IGP's office, who has also minuted it through the AIG to the Commissioner of Police in Lagos. So our men have been in contact with the Commissioner of Police in Lagos for them to be fully aware of what we intend to do, and also for us to explain the route with which we would have that procession. Then again, for us, like we said, a protest is a means to an end. A strike is a means to an end. They are not the end itself. What is the end goal in all this? How to resolve the issue. So if Lagos State government comes up to resolve the issue tomorrow, they will come up to resolve the issue on Sunday, we'll have a handshake. So for us, it is how the issues will be resolved. So the securities, they are well informed. The DSS, the police, as well as the National Security Advisor.
Very good. I mean, it's good to know that. But very quickly, you've given government a 2-week ultimatum, or you go on strike. Does that ultimatum still stand? And as TUC, I'd like to get your reaction. I mean, there seems to be a positive development on the issue of salary increase for lecturers across the country. How does that come to you?
Yes, so we don't have, I mean, we just saw that in the media today, so we are still studying it, because first of all, if you are now salary increment on your own without a collective bargaining agreement, we refer to it as a wage award. So we need to understand what federal government has announced, the percentage announced by the Auditor General. Is it a wage award, or is it a product of collective bargaining agreement? If it is not a product of a latter, then it means that is a wage award, and the agitation will still continue. So that is for that. But again, any increment in salary, we always welcome it. So if government wakes up tomorrow, if an employer wakes up tomorrow and decide to give a particular increment in salary, we welcome it. But we will now also look at that vis-a-vis our agitation and what we are pushing for. So we welcome that development. But if they have done it unilaterally, it is a wage award. If it was a product of collective bargaining agreement, then we will say thumbs up. But I doubt if it's a product of collective bargaining agreement.
Thank you indeed, Festus Osifo, President of the Trade Union Congress, for coming to Newsnight.